Hi, this is Dave for Get Your Rock Out, and I'm in the very ground surroundings of the Finnish ambassador's residence in London, and I'm talking to Mikko from the wonderful Hertzen Brothers. How are you today?
Very good, very well. I mean, we didn't expect to be treated like this, having the space to ourselves, but it's very beautiful. And the blackbirds are singing outside. It's a change for us Finns because it's really cold still in Finland. So it's been a nice couple of days here. Sun is shining. It's nice.
It has turned a bit chillier today, a bit colder today, unfortunately. Yeah. But hopefully you can take some of that sunshine back to Finland with you.
I'm sure.
So you've just completed the 3-day tour of the UK. How did that go?
I think it went really well. We've been touring in Finland quite a bit now, and so we have a little bit of we have rehearsed, so to say, the new songs, playing them live, and we are hoping that it will be a little bit longer of a tour. But I mean, the main purpose was just to show our faces here and say, okay, the album is out and we are here, and just talk to people a little bit about it. And so the gigs went well, good crowds, and people seemed to be very happy. And it was nice to also hear from the like British fans that they love the new album. Because in Finland, it was, it's kind of like those 4 months when the album is ready and nobody has heard it. You start kind of like questioning, whether it's good or not, and what people are going to think about it. But now it seems that people really like it, and that's of course a relief. So.
Do you ever get the temptation to go back and tinker a little bit with it before it actually?
Always. It's. I mean, there's this time that you're kind of like. After the mix, you listen. I listen to always the album a lot, and the reason why I do that is that you first, after the mix, you only hear the things that could be better.
Yeah.
But then when you listen to it like a lot, then you start kind of like being friends with how it is, because when I talk about the album to people, I need to love the album, because that energy, that feeling has to be somehow like transmitted in my talking. And I am very proud of the album. So I kind of like already forgot about the things that I wanted to tweak.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
that's and now since that kind of revelation comes, then now I haven't listened to it lately much, but it needs that time that you kind of like become friends with your own material. So,
And the album itself, you played I think it was 8 songs at the Dome when I saw you last Thursday.
Right.
That's quite a high number. Was that a deliberate thing to get as much of the album out there as possible?
Yeah, I mean, we are still doing the tour for this album, and in Finland we decided that we are going to play the whole album, and then we are going to at least as much old songs. Right. So the set times were more than 2 hours in Finland when we were playing. So there were long sets, and here we kind of like went through the list and thought that maybe we should kind of have the set list tilting a little bit more on the new material than the previous one, because we also felt like we've been doing a lot of shows here lately. Last year we did a Wild Hearts tour and so forth. So we wanted to present the new albums to the people.
So does it become, now you're 6 albums into your career, does that become more difficult to select those songs for the live set?
It's absolutely horrible, I can tell you. It's a very difficult thing to do, because it's like, even in the sound check, you take one of the older songs and start playing, and it's just, God, I would love to play this, but there's no time. We, like here, we have 2 opening acts, and we only have 90 minutes to play, so you have to just like kill your darlings, and just like, okay, Insomniac, gone.
That's a great way of putting it.
And just like Lost in Time, gone. Let's play the new songs, and it's a hard thing to do, because there is like you said, it's a different thing when you have done a lot of crap and not so many good songs. Then you know what to play. Yeah. But in our case, we feel that there's so many good songs that we really wanted to play, and it is hard. But then again, like I said, we chose to play the new songs and then a couple of older ones.
I suppose inevitably there's always going to be somebody in the audience that's going to be a little bit disappointed because you haven't played their personal
Exactly.
favourite. So there's always going to be that balance to get right, but you can't please everybody.
Exactly, and then it's of course we are in the profession that we are, of course, trying as much as we can. We're trying to please the audience by choosing the right songs for them to hear. But at the end of the day, it has to also be for ourselves.
Absolutely, yeah.
Somehow new and interesting. So that's also why now when the album is out, this first period, this first tour is more tilting towards the new stuff, and then.
Yeah.
Come fall, we might drop a few of the new songs and then add again some of the older stuff. But yeah, I mean it's always a question of whether you're in a hospitality industry and taking everybody's opinions and being a jukebox, or whether you have okay, this is now our new style, our new songs, and we hope you like it. So. It's an ongoing discussion.
Yeah. You've got to be in it to please yourself as well, haven't you? Otherwise, it just becomes meaningless, I guess. Really.
Yeah, and what's the point of making new songs if you don't play them to people? So.
Exactly. Yeah. The audience, I thought at the Dome, they seemed to be really into it, really enjoying it, and you guys did as well. That was the energy I got off the stage. That how much you were enjoying being there and playing as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's. Now, I mean, I would say that the first 5 gigs of this tour, because we were still learning to perform the tracks, the new tracks. It was kind of now it was kind of we felt how to move in this song and how to how the body is reacting to this vibe and all that stuff. But now it's very enjoyable because it's we found a way how we are doing it. And now we can just dwell in the songs themselves. And this is absolutely the best thing in this profession when you have new songs, you're not bored of them yet.
Yeah, I can understand.
And you start feeling that I know what I'm doing. So that's the most enjoyable part of the whole thing. And we are just there now. So that's maybe the vibe that people are feeling.
Because you actually went slightly over the curfew time at the Dome. I don't know if that upset
surprise,
anybody.
Surprise!
But certainly it was very welcome and very well received as well. It just tipped over the 11 o'clock, didn't it?
Yeah. But that's the whole thing. I mean, it's just we could go on and on playing when things are sounding good in our own ears. When we kind of sense from the crowd that they are pleased that we're doing what we're doing. It's we could play for hours. Then kind of time just kind of vanishes in there, and you don't even know that. Oh God, 2 hours just flew by.
Yeah. And I think it's the first time I've ever seen somebody come off stage and go to the bar and get a drink, and then go back on stage as well, like you did.
Yeah. It was kind of funny. I don't know. It's it happens. Anything can happen in a rock gig. What happened in Wolverhampton is that we lost half of the stage power twice.
Oh dear.
And it took a minute to to bring everything back, and so it's just things happen, and then you just react to it somehow. I was okay, bar is empty, let's go there.
So New Day Rising's been out for about a month now. You must be very pleased, very delighted with the way it's been received. The reviews I've seen, and my own review are very, very positive. You must be really pleased with that.
Of course. I mean, the thing is that we felt like we are taking a bold step, taking even a risk, making a very straightforward rock album, and we weren't sure how people would react to that because we are, looking back, we have been called a prog rock band, and they're absolutely right. If you listen to the older stuff that we've done, it's sometimes even outrageously prog. But that said, we knew that we need to do something as a band, something different, because it's we could continue writing 12-minute songs, and I know that we are good at that, and we do have that kind of tendency to reach heights and build up things into a massive epic thing, but that's also kind of a thing that we tend to repeat time after time, and we wanted to do it differently this time, and we just felt like, okay, there's not going to be another Love Remains the Same or another, Willing Victim or Kiss a Wish or something. Those things are just like unique, and if we try to do it again or try to repeat what we have done, it's not going to fly. And so we wanted to do something differently, and that's how we decided on taking somebody like our producer on board, and just like find another way of expression. That's always a demanding task when you have gained a certain style. With, for example, 9 Lives, we felt that was a very, very good album. But then what to do next, to up the game a little bit, to make it interesting to ourselves. And that's always like, the new album is always like a reaction to the previous one.
I understand that.
And the worst thing you can do is to try to repeat what you've done before, because then most probably you're going to end up making just a tiny little bit worse version of the same thing.
And then the audience will say, well, it wasn't as good as...
Exactly. So at least now that, okay, I know that there are people that feel that Approach is the best album we ever made, and there are people who are saying that Stars Align was the best, and there's loads of people saying that 9 Lives is the best. But now, talking to people after gigs, which we always do, people are coming to say that this is the best album you've ever made. And that feels so good, because we know that we made pretty fucking great albums before, So it's like, and
it's vindication, isn't it? It's justification for what you've done as well. It must feel.
And the thing is that I really want to be proud of everything we do, so that we've done 6 albums so far. Okay, the first one, it's kind of like it was a very juvenile thing that we did, because it was like, we were kind of like just trying out stuff, and we didn't take ourselves even seriously. It was just a project. But after that, it's been like every single album has been, we've been really trying to make something great and differently, and every single time a little different. So I feel that all the reviews that we are getting from this album are, I think the people are, at the same time, they are a little bit surprised, and then also kind of thrilled that we actually took that step, a little bit more to the mainstream maybe, or more to the kind of like crystallized version of Von Hertzen Brothers. It's not like going here and there much anymore, like 11 parts in a song kind of, stuff that we used to do. So...
But if you can say what you need to say within 6 minutes, why do you need to say it within 10, 12 minutes?
Exactly. And when we narrowed down the material to these songs that we actually recorded, we left out like really, really cool stuff. Like, Jonne had written this amazing 11-minute, like very, very kind of soundtracky piece of music that we felt that would be a perfect ending to the album. But then we wanted to, because we have so many long songs, on our previous albums, that let's just do like a ballad there, a simple ballad with beautiful beautiful soundscape, and that's it.
Well, Hibernating Heart, that particular song it's got a sort of Forever Autumn vibe for me. That sort of summer coming to an end, and it's putting your love to sleep, I guess, is the idea behind it before it awakens again, the following year. I think it's a beautiful sentiment.
It's that, and then also there's this element of winter and Finland that seems so fucking desperately long. It's like it's never ending. And it's just like the coldness, when I painted the song to the other guys I was talking about, it has to be cold and blue. That's what we are after. It's a blue song, and it has to be cold, and it has to feel like there's this ice in it somehow. And but then a very warm vocal, which is kind of like anticipating the warmth to come. That's the idea.
I think it works really well. With that in mind, have you ever thought about relocating, your base anywhere else, somewhere a little warmer, maybe?
Yeah, well, we have been talking about it, and the thing is that, you know, two of our members have families in Finland, so it's not that easy.
No,
And
of course
also, it also like we are doing so well in Finland. It's really good to have our base there for now. It might change in the future. I myself, I come to the UK frequently, but it's not that much warmer here, to be honest, because inside the buildings it's quite cold actually compared to Finland, where the heating is like, you know, we have triple windows, and you know, here it's single windows, and it's a little chilly all the time. So, but I have another home in India.
Wow.
And that's, for me, that's kind of like my spiritual home, you know. I lived there for many years, and after this interview I'm heading back there for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So I have that, and I write there a lot of songs, and so I'm in that place that I do have that kind of good balance between. I'd like to be there a little bit more, but you know, because work is going so well and we have so many things to do, I'm more here.
I can't imagine two places more contrasting, really, from the way where you've got homes. That's a real contrast. You know.
It is, but honestly, I like them both because there I get the warmth, but it's hectic. You know, there's like India is like that it's like very kind of sense poking. You know, everything is like loud, and you know, spices are hot, and you know, colors are plenty. And whereas Finland is grey, cold, silent. You know, so there's this weird balance that, okay, it's pin drop silence in Finland, but you know, you can't imagine Finland being so silent when you're in India. Whereas where in Finland, you can't imagine all the noise and everything and the heat and everything. So it's very, has a lot of contrast, which I like.
I just wanted to ask you about a couple of songs on the album itself. The title track. I mean, I couldn't imagine any other song on the album being the lead-off track, because it's such an anthemic and a rousing song. Where did you get the idea for that one from?
Well, it's a song originally written by my big brother, and when he came with the demo, we immediately knew this is the album opener. The other option was Sunday Child. But we thought that, you know, this is kind of like, this is something that we haven't done before. And also, you know, it kind of kicks ass so bad to have that as his first song. Now, the first version of it was more proggy. It had this kind of like Broadway chorus, which was like, you know, really, really nice. But when our producer was in Helsinki and we were doing pre-production, we were thinking that this would be perfect, but it could be a little bit better. It could be a little bit more punchy. And then we actually rewrote the chorus together at our rehearsing studio. Like, okay, let's just go like the Foo Fighters, you know, and just like go straight for it. And it ended up really, really cool. And it's funny because it has that kind of 90s, early 90s vibe to it, like The Cult. You know, I'm thinking Sonic Temple. And, you know, stuff like that. You know, but then, you know, because of the chorus goes to 6, and it's just a perfect opening song, and it's very different from what we had done before. So that was also one of the kind of requirements for an opening. You know, the lead single to be something that, oh wow, you know, what is this? Oh, it's a von Hertzen Brothers. You know. To have that effect, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I can see a lot of people being attracted to the album by that song.
Totally. Yeah. In the UK, I mean, it was A-listed in most of the rock radios, and people, like, you know, we only get like positive feedback from. It's great.
And the other one is The Destitute, which is one of my favourites. So where did the ideas from that song come from?
Well, that's actually a song written. This is really cool because we have 3 songwriters in the band, and thus the material is very broad.
Yeah.
You know, because we tend to have a little bit different ways of writing melodies and different ways of seeing harmonies and all that. So this is a song written by Jonne, my little brother, and I have a story related to this song. You know, Randy Staub, who mixed the album, who has mixed like so many cool albums in the past. I was in the studio with him, and 2 times during the mix, he he took the master volume down and told me. One time he said that I don't remember when was the last time I heard drum and bass play this good together. And then the second time he took them, took the volume down he said that this should be the first single of the album. This is a fucking great track, and I was like, yeah, I agree because it's such a cool song.
Yeah,
and
I love it.
Yeah, and somehow the lyric that I came up with, it just like fits so well. Everything is like so tight and good. And the story is basically that I wanted to write a story that combines Lord Buddha's story, which is like he left the palace to be with the common folk and with the poor. He wanted to be a wandering monk, So that's the story that I had in mind, and then I combined that with the bedtime prayer. I lay me down. Lay me down on the and this and that, and so So it just like everything fits so well, and it's a song that I'm very proud. It's so fun to play that live, and then the 8 parts, there's the main melody, but there's this Crosby, Stills, Nash thing going on there all the time,
the
3 harmonies all the time, intertwining.
Absolutely.
So it's I don't know, but it's also something that we haven't really done before, and it's the only song on the album that actually has a guitar solo that we used to have in every song, So it's also like that. It's like it's special.
Yeah, I agree. I think so as well. And the title of the album, does that signify new beginnings for you because of a slightly different approach to the material you're writing?
We wanted people to think that way, because we felt like, even though it's the same instrumentation and it's like many things we did were like very familiar for us, but at the same time there were many things that we did in a completely new way. For example, we recorded this album in Vancouver, and we only took our main guitars with us. So everything else was, used by whatever they had. So we didn't use our own equipment. We used whatever they had.
Right.
So it sounds a little different because of that too. And also to have somebody, we had a really, really cool team working for this album, the producer, the engineer, and all those people. And we felt like, this is kind of like a new beginning. We are kind of gearing up, We didn't know that we had number 6 there, but it's there. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing that we wanted to kind of also the message that we wanted to give to people.
Because the album is still diverse, isn't it? There's the tracks. You said it's slightly more mainstream perhaps, but there's still quite a lot of diversity in there, isn't there? You're pulling in influences from a lot. Dreams, for example, is a very unusual sound that you've got there.
Yeah, the thing is that we really went on this album. We were thinking, song first. Whatever the song requires, we'll do. We have to be true to the song. So we don't care if it's folk, if it's prog, if it's rock, if it's pop.
No, absolutely.
It's just like this is a pop song. Let's not try to make it a prog rock song. It's a pop song, and whatever it requires to be as good as it can, we'll do. And then the progginess or the diversity part of the album comes from having all those different styles there. Whereas it used to be more within a song, one song we had a prog section and a rock section and a riff, But now it's like we have a riff song, we have a prog song, and we have a pop song. So it's like it was all about okay, we have this idea, let's crystallize it, and this is one entity, so to say. And then having all those different entities there kind of makes that broadness and the diversity of the album, and that was kind of what we were after also.
So the material that you mentioned that you've got left over, is that a possibility that will see the light of day at some point?
Definitely. There are 6 more songs that we actually recorded and mixed. Everything is done, but one of them is an iTunes bonus track at the moment, which is called Long and Winding Road. Hats off to the Beatles. And it's not that song. It's not a cover version of that song, but it's like the title just came to my mind, and okay, ended up being the title. But the rest of the songs, we are keeping them aside for a little while longer because there might be a Japanese release, maybe some bonus tracks for them. Then there are a few songs that I'm still thinking that we should maybe reconsider opening the files and maybe doing stuff a little differently. Maybe adding some orchestration, something like that. So, okay. So it might. I mean, we'll see. But definitely we are going to use that material in some way. We are not going to, just like there are good songs there. So.
Because I believe you've left some of the stuff you've written previously. You've put on a later album as well.
Yes, it happens sometimes. Like on this album, the song Trouble, was something I already had pretty much done for 9 Lives. But we had on 9 Lives we had Lost in Time, which was also very like slow, kind of dragging, heavy song, and we didn't want to have 2 of those on the album. So we kept it aside, and there was some tweaking I needed to do with the chorus and stuff. But so, and Flowers and Rust was something that was left out from Stars of Mind because we felt it's too pop. We needed to redo some stuff. The first version of it was a little different and it was too pop. So we did some work on it, and it ended up being the biggest song.
It did, absolutely.
Of last album.
Yeah, a very popular song.
Yeah.
So you've got some more dates in Finland coming up in a couple of weeks' time, you said.
Yeah, actually we are playing this week. We are playing like a radio anniversary show on Wednesday, and then I'm flying to India for 2 weeks on Thursday, and then come mid-May we have a few dates there, and then the festival season starts.
And you're playing Download.
We are.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. That's a fantastic opportunity for the band to show our faces to new people here in the UK. So very much looking forward to it.
Have you been to the festival before?
I haven't, but I have many friends who have, and they've always said that that's the number one rock festival in Europe. And ever since we started working here in 2011 with Stars Aligned, that was the first actual release here in the UK. Everybody has been telling me you should play Download. You guys you belong to that. You should play it. People would get it. I've been just always saying, I know, we should. But
when the time's
it's not that easy. You can tell me that you should play it, and I go like, yeah, of course we should play it. But it's not that easy to get on the bill. But now, because we have a good team and the copying is kind of like warming up to the band, it's like
that's great.
we got the chance, and let's just hope that.
And with that lead-off track as well, I think you're gonna bring a lot of people in.
I think
that
so.
may be just sort of passing by and hear it.
I think so, and we have another single coming out now before that with a video, so that might also do something. And we are hoping for a good crowd. I mean, it's a big stage, so it will be a disaster if nobody showed up. But
I'm sure there's always people there. You'll have a base of fans anyway, and then there'll be a few, 1 or 2 people, 100 or 200 people hopefully that will come along and just check you out.
Yeah.
It happens because it is such a big festival and so much else is going on.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, if it goes well, and I'm sure it will, then come fall we are able to tour here more, and that's the plan. I mean, we are looking for a good support slot with one of the big bands, or if we can't find anything, then we'll do a headlining tour.
That's interesting. I thought you would have been at a level now that you didn't need to do a support as such.
We don't actually doing regional shows now seems to be working fine for us. But at the same time, I think the clever thing to do would be to play Download, then do a really cool support slot, maybe for one of the really big bands to play, not arenas, but bigger size bands, and then do the headlining tour. That would be the smart thing to do. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it kind of shows that we went to Nottingham now and Wolverhampton, and there were a lot of people there, and so And people are all the time asking, when are we coming to Liverpool, Manchester, and Glasgow
Bound
again?
to happen, isn't it? Yeah.
So, for me personally, it would be great to do a headlining tour because then we can play what we, a longer set,
Yeah.
which is of course better for the band. But yeah, there are pros and cons, so we just have to see.
And how about mainland Europe as well? Are there any plans to go there?
There are, yeah. This year we are trying to cover at least one 10-day tour here in the UK, plus the download, of course, and then to have maybe a month in mainland Europe. If possible, do a showcase or two in the US. That's kind of like the big picture for
Yeah,
this
of course.
year.
Yeah. It's
And
downstairs.
then do as many festivals in Finland as we can in the summer. Yeah.
Well, Mikko, thank you very much indeed for the interview. I really appreciate your time. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks.